let's talk about this idea of control and release, binge and purge. Not
Great.
necessarily traditionally how we would think about eating disorders, like a binge and purge, sometimes with an eating disorder, but just in the way that we operate in our health around fitness and nutrition. Tell me a little bit, Sean, what you see in your clients around this extreme nature of rigidity and then this flying off the handle.
Yeah, it's one of the more complicated, human things. And one of the most interesting parts about my job is that I get to see and try to process how different people handle desire, pressure, immediate gratification versus long term, and how some people can switch into a month of incredible dialed in work followed by 3 weeks of not giving a shit. And and it's almost like we reward ourselves by treating ourselves badly again, like these confusing principles.
Mm,
But I do think that the most important thing is that you can build habits as opposed to just forcing this thing like an extreme diet perspective. And if your goal isn't to have an understanding of your health so that you understand why things are happening, then you're just
mm,
like it's kind of like going to a doctor or a chiropractor where you're just hoping that what they do in that little moment will change your life forever.
yeah.
And the reality is that has to be a part of the bigger change. You have to be making a difference in your fitness, in your health, in your joints, in order to not end up back at the chiropractor all the time doing this over and over. And I think
Mm,
that dieting cycle of get these quick results and then go back to the way that you were living is just too easy. But I also understand, like, in the world today, the way culture is and society is, like, overeating and indulging, it's like celebrated in every way, and it's where you have the most fun. It's where a lot of your memories are. It's how weddings happen. It's how so much of what we do is built around this. And so then to tell people to just turn that part of their biology off is hard.
mm. So, what's the alternative to the yo yo diet of the lose 10 pounds, gain 15 back? Because statistics reveal that that's actually more damaging to your overall heart health to be
Yep.
able to lose weight, gain weight over and over again. Like what's the alternative for people? What do they need to work on in order to get that more organized and less control release?
I think about this all the time, right? Because at the end of the day, this is my goal for this process. And what I believe is that education and repetition are the two biggest drivers, right? Awareness, like any other field of life, as you draw awareness to what you consume and the value of all the food that you eat, and how relatively simple it is if you just have some control, right? Once you become aware of that, and then you force these habits or you develop habits of movement, um, I think those are the two biggest drivers. The
Mm,
biggest reason that this happens, that people rebound, is that they go into an extreme caloric deficit. So their body downregulates their metabolism because they're eating 1,200 calories a day. And this is also something that we're seeing for people that use GLP-1s, because you have the drive to eat so much lower. You eat at 1,200 calories, even though your body needs 2,000 just to be awake. Over the next 3, 4 months, if you sustain that, your body's going to try to downregulate your metabolism and reach homeostasis. And that down regulation, then you come off of your diet, you go back to what should be a normal diet. Now you're in a 600, 800 calorie surplus, right? So it's super easy to gain weight back when you're coming off of a super low calorie diet. So you have to be smart about how you go on. You have to be smart about how you come off. But the biggest thing is that the practices that you do every day, they have to become your identity. It has to be just what you do. It's that smoker analogy of, if you ask somebody if they want a cigarette and they go like, "No, I'm trying to quit," that person's screwed, right? They're still a smoker. But if you ask somebody if they want to smoke and they go, "I don't smoke," they've stopped, right? And I think the same thing has to be with this. Identity has to drive this. You have to just see yourself as the person that doesn't sacrifice his health for X treat all the time.
yeah. I think psychologically there's a framework called all or nothing thinking or black
Yeah.
and white thinking, which is actually very common in these patterns as well, which is unless I reach ultimate perfection and hit 100% of my goals, when I miss 5%, I start to slide and then I go into that binge state, which is like, well, what's the point? I've
Yeah,
already gone,
I can't do it.
I've
Yeah.
already missed the perfect mark. So now I might as well just fuck it and just go all the way off the edge. And then they kick themselves in the ass again and they go, dude, okay, we've done this for 24 hours,
Yeah.
48 hours, get back on the horse. And then they're super rigid again and they're controlling and they hold it together for about a week or 2 weeks and then they fall again. Boom. And psychologically, that is one of the most eviscerating and discouraging cycles that you can be in. It's actually one of the most shameful cycles because you have this image of 100% perfection. I'm doing it all perfect to I just binged and just lost control. Having that part that lost control is very shameful for people and they often try to hide that, and then it's very difficult to show up as an authentic person in authentic
Yep.
and connective relationships because you're unwilling to share, when instead I think sometimes psychologically we set ourselves up for failure, especially in the health space, because our objectives and our goals are so high. I remember when I was a personal trainer, I would meet with people and they would be like, I want to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks, and I'm like, that goal not only is going to lead you into a control binge cycle, it's going to make you so demoralized. And we're so focused on trying to have these big wins that we don't know how to have just consistent. Listen, being healthy is boring as hell. You know
Yeah.
this, I know this.
Yeah.
Fitness, nutrition, eating well, sleeping well, taking good supplements, it is boring as hell. It's not that exciting. It is the consistent patterns, small consistent patterns every single day of where you win. And I just think people want the big wins. And how do we get them out of this mindset of like small consistent patterns versus big spikes and wins and the dopamine that's attached to some of that?
Yeah. I mean, as Aristotle said, the man who moves a mountain starts with one stone, I think is what the quote is. And it's
Mm.
just kind of the concept, right? Like you have to over time. That's why my protocol is 90 days, because the goal, just like basic training, right? You go into basic training and you're forced to adopt all these new habits. You have to, right? If you don't, you're letting your team down, you're letting your buddies down. There's a system built to kind of make you do it. And it feels hard for the first couple of weeks, but by the end of basic training, you're like thrilled to get an apple and all of it seems easy because it's just what you do. And the goal of this thing for me, because in some ways this is aggressive, right? I'm asking a lot of you guys, like, let's lock in, let's fucking do it. And if you were trying to do that on your own, you would probably stop. It would be too many habits to adopt at one time. You should stack them one at a time. But inside of the system, because you have the accountability of the community and all that other stuff, it allows you to just get up and do this shit over and over. And if you fall off, we're going to call you back in and you get up and you keep doing it. And by the end of it, these guys are like, man, I just look forward to the walks. I look forward to those things. And
Mhm.
so to me, it's like, okay, how can we, or how can you in your normal life without the support of a group, how can you start to do this? And it just becomes stack one habit at a time. Start with a thing that you can do this week. Walking is such an easy example. Just getting out, taking those 10,000 steps, it'll help regulate blood sugar. It'll help regulate your digestion process if you do it after a meal. I call them fart walks. Decreases your risk of Alzheimer's. It's just like all around. If it was a pill, it would be prescribed to everyone.
Yeah.
So if you can just get out and start walking, that's going to make a huge difference. Then add in the working out. Then dial in your nutrition. Start easy. Like you don't have to kill yourself. If you're doing it on your own, you don't have a system built for you, do it one step at a time. Add these things as you go.